Hi, I'm Scott Humphrey, CEO of the World Floor Covering Association, and this is Leadership Live. So if you look up the words that leaders recognize, one of the ones you would find down the list is the word sacrifice. Sacrifice means a loss or something you give up, usually for the sake of a better cause. As we go into celebrating the weekend that we call Memorial Day, I think of all those who have sacrificed to make our lives better, to make our lives possible, and realize that without their sacrifice from the Revolutionary War on, America would not be America. Especially I think about those from World War II who signed up not knowing if they would come back, and those who allowed their loved ones to sign up to defend our country. Without them, Hitler would have changed the world. Hirohito would have changed the world. But because of them, we have the freedom that we have today. May we never, ever take that for granted. Sacrifice is part of leadership. What's ironic is those from World War II and all of the other wars generally would not identify themselves as leaders. But leaders have impact on future generations, and I would tell you, without those who willingly gave their time, effort, and in many cases their life, we would not be the country that we are today. I want to show you a picture. The gentleman on this side right here is a guy by the name of Paul Pumphrey. Paul is a former chairman of the WFCA and fought in World War II. He was part of the Merchant Marines, which you might not realize had a higher death rate than any of the armed forces per capita. They were the ones that did the refueling and resupplying of ships, and so they were often set out there with very little defense. Paul, when I found out he was a World War II vet, I asked him if he'd ever been to D.C. to see the World War II Memorial, and he told me no. The board of the WFCA decided to send him there. You may have heard this story before, but it's worth recapping. I called the Merchant Marines and let them know I was going to be bringing Paul Pumphrey in and wanted to know if we could come by and see them. And they said, "How do you spell his name?" And I told them. And they said, "He has 13 medals coming to him that he's never claimed." And so we set it up without letting Paul know, and the head of the Merchant Marines for the United States came out and presented him these medals in a plaque in a form that he could hang on his wall. It was an amazing experience. And Paul, whose body has given out to some degree, has an amazing mind still, stood tall, as you can see in this picture, with Johnny Isaacson, senator at the time from Georgia, and myself. I think about people like Paul and the sacrifice that they made, and I think that's what leadership truly is. Cyrus, who the Persian king, it is said once captured a prince. And he asked the prince, he said, "What would you give if I spared your life?" And he said, "I would give you half of everything I own." And he said, "And what would you give if I spared your children's lives?" And he said, "I would give you all my possessions." And he said, "And what if I spared your wife?" And the prince said, "I would give my own life." And Cyrus was so touched by that he let the man go free. And it is said that as the prince walked away, he commented to his wife, "Did you notice what an attractive man Cyrus was?" And his wife, without hesitation, said, "No, I didn't even notice him. I was so busy focusing on the one who was willing to give his life so that I could go free." We should all share that type of focus toward those who have given their lives and their sacrifice of time, effort, sweat, tears, blood, to allow us to have the freedom that we do. Sacrifice. That's what leadership is all about. Let's embrace that. Thank a veteran. Thank them for their sacrifice. Thank them for their leadership. Emulate it, and then go out there and lead.